What's in the bag, Angelos? Tell us what's in the bag, you bastard. Welcome to the 2021 season. What's in my bag? Wimb. I wasn't going to do one of these, but I thought I'd combine one, a Wimb, with a bit of a quick sit rep on the state of my game, with a month or so to go to the end of my season proper into 2021. So here we go. I'll be as brief as I can be. Quite a few things have changed, but I won't go over what I had in the past. Start with the irons. I've gone back to my old clubs. These are from 2010. These are the Cleveland CG Tour blades. Well, they're sort of combination set, 4 and 5, 3, 4 and 5. I've got a little cavity back, you can see, but all the rest are blades. These are from 2010, like I say. They're almost retro lofted. They're certainly not modern strong lofts, so they're I'll go through them. The 5 iron is 27 degrees. The 6 iron that's a proper muscle back blade, is 31 degrees. The 7 iron is 35 degrees. Put that into context, a strong power modern day loft is 31 degrees for a 7 iron. Mine's 35, and what you call a retro loft or sort of tour loft is 36 or 30, or even 37, really old school. So I'm much weaker than standard, or much weaker than modern anyway. 8 iron is 39 degrees, 9 iron 43 degrees, and then the pitching wedge 47 degrees. Again, for the pitching wedge, a strong modern power loft is sort of 45, 44 even sometimes for a pitching wedge, whereas a retro sort of old school loft is 48 degrees. There was no need for a gap wedge all those years ago. You had a pitching wedge, a sand iron, and maybe a lob wedge. But with my pitching wedge at 47 degrees, it's pretty retro. So there are my beautiful CG1 Tour irons, and like I say, not the CMM CG1 Tour, the carbon metal matrix. They're meant to be softer, those ones, but they just feel dead. I much prefer the non-CMM version, much more to my liking. They're very bladey, thin top line, not a lot of offset, small heads, and you can see that proper muscle back, beautiful clubs. I've gripped them all, had them all re-gripped in my favourite grip, which is a Tour Wrap softy, what I call a softy. It's actually a Tour Wrap, I think. It's quite sticky in warm weather, but probably no good in the rain. But as I don't tend to play in the rain, if I can help it, that's not a problem. All my irons are about 1.5 degrees longer than standard and about 1.5 degrees upright, which suits me because I'm 6'2" and I need that sort of length and lie angle. They're second hand. I didn't buy them new. It just so happened they fit me perfectly and they look lovely, and I love them to bits. If I put a full swing on them, and I keep my hands high, I don't have to put any effort to get these going how far I want them to go and as high as I want them to go. And because they're sort of blades, steel shafted blades, they tend to be very consistent, unlike sort of carbon fibre shafted cavity backs, which you can get flyers on and that sort of stuff. So those are my irons, all from 2010. Then we're on to specialist wedges. I've got beryllium copper Cleveland Tour Action Diadic 53 degree sand iron from 2000. It's old. It probably doesn't put much spin on the ball these days, but I love it. Dyadic means it's sort of dual purpose. It's can be used as a sand iron or a gap wedge, I suppose, but it's a sand iron through and through for me. I don't use it in the sand, funnily enough, but I love it. This has got that's got a black. I should rewrap this, shouldn't I? A black tour wrap, Golf Pride tour wrap grip on it. And probably my favourite club of all, has been for some time, is my 2000 again 60 degree Cleveland Tour Action bronze 900 lob wedge. The grooves are probably all worn away now, but it's just wonderful. I definitely use this out of the sand, and because I've been so used to playing with this over the years, I just have no fear from around the greens and in the bunkers with this club, and that's half the battle with golf, isn't it? Well, that's wrapped in a white tour wrap again. Yeah, that's half the battle with golf. If you feel confident over a certain club, doesn't matter what the lie is like or what shot you've got to play. If you feel confident over the ball because you know you've hit your club well, the club you're holding in your hands lots of times, you're probably onto a winner. So that's why that club stays in my bag. I should go back up to the top of the bag, really. I haven't talked about this. This is my sort of, if you like, driving iron. This is a 2018, 17, something like that. Cleveland 588 TT, meaning Tour Trajectory, which means it hits it lower than the MT version of this club. It's a 3 iron. I can play it off the fairway if the lie's good, or off a low tee, and it doesn't get much above sort of, I don't know, 10-20 feet in the air and rolls forever. It's great for the seaside. Wish I had it when I played the Isle of Wight a few years ago. Doesn't see much action these days, and it's got a carbon fibre shaft, I should say, and it hasn't got a tour wrap. It's got a standard, whatever they call Golf Pride, well, I don't know what they call it, a standard grip. All my grips, by the way, are mid-size with 2 layers of tape. They're all quite big hands. I could probably go to 3 layers of tape, to be honest with you. So those are the irons. Those are the wedges. Oh, got one more wedge. This is a bit of a weird one. This is my Cleveland 42 degrees Niblick from 2010. Or 2011, sorry. I used to use this a lot. I barely use it at all now. If I've got a little chip and run, then I'll use this to sort of chip it on using a putting action, and just let it release out to the pin if possible. To be honest with you, it's little more than a chipper, so it's a bit of a cheat, really. It's probably the ugliest club I've got in the bag. I used to use it a lot. I used to use it from sort of 50 yards out. It's very upright. It's a very short shaft, and even though it's 42 degrees, there you can see that, it's probably backwards on the film. Plays more like 49, 50. So it plays a bit like a gap wedge. So I sort of call it my gap wedge in my bag, but it isn't really. It's more of a chipper these days. It's a percentage club, and it's back in the bag this season, but I hardly use it. So that's my Niblick. So those are all the irons. Where are we? Let's talk about the putter. This is a beautiful club. This is from 1986. This is, what, 35 years old, something like that. It's a Cleveland designed by Ben Crenshaw Napa blade putter from 1986, made out of beryllium copper. It's very old school. The design was very successful back in the day. Some people still swear by these Napa blades. These Cleveland designed by Napa putters are very sought after. This one in particular is almost unique. It's probably worth as much as my This is 35 years old, and it's probably worth as much as my 2-year-old driver now, and in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 10 years time it will be worth much more than my 2-year-old driver, because this holds its value indefinitely. This will always be worth 150, 200 quid, whereas my 2-year-old driver as it stands now will be worth 30 quid in a few years time. This is a work of art, this. So that's my putter. Should move on to the woods. I've got I carry 3 woods. Let's start with the 7 wood first of all. This is a Cleveland FL launcher 7 wood from 2010 or 11. So not new again. Small head with, I don't know if you can see this, a wonderful Miyazaki shaft, which seems to suit me to a T. This is a regular shaft because I don't swing hard. My transition isn't aggressive. These Miyazaki shafts just seem perfect for me. I love this club. Look, perhaps this is my favourite club. I'm not afraid to admit I use a 7 wood. My 7 wood has always been in my bag. In fact, I've had more than one 7 wood in my bag over the years. Sometimes I've carried 2 7 woods in one bag. I like them so much. Use them for different things. If this isn't my favourite club, maybe the lob wedge is. My Cleveland bronze lob wedge from 2000 is, but I do love my 7 wood. Absolutely adore it. In fact, lots of pros play with 7 woods these days. I've got a matching. Cleveland call this a 3 wood. It's an FL launcher 3 wood, they call it. HT, high trajectory. It isn't a 3 wood, not in any sense of the word. It's barely even a 4 wood these days. 5 woods are 18 degrees, but I call this a 4 wood. It's 17 degrees. That's what a 4 wood used to be, sort of still is, even though some strong lofted 5 woods are 17 degrees. And it's the same. It's got the same shaft, the same as my 7 wood. It's got the same. I don't know if you can see that. Miyazaki shaft, regular shaft, which suits me to a T. This is my driving club of choice right now. I'll explain why in a minute. I just feel so confident with a 4 wood in my hands. I can Lee Trevino it and get it moving right to left and bounding down the fairway. Not long, sort of, I don't know, 200 yards, something like that, but that's long enough for most pay and play courses. So this tends to be my driving club of choice at the moment. I didn't think I'd say that a year ago. Now, talking of drivers, this is my driver. The only club that I bought new. Did I buy this new? No, it was second hand, wasn't it? Yeah, all my clubs are second hand. This is a club that I fell in love with back end of last season after buying it second hand. It's the Launcher HB Turbo 10.5 degrees draw model from Cleveland, released 2 years ago. It's got pingish turbulators on it and sort of dimply head and that sort of stuff, with a black face that I'm not too keen on. It's got a Miyazaki shaft. You can see that? Maybe not. Can't see where I'm focusing. Which is okay. And I fell in love with this, massively, even blogged about it. I couldn't, they were like lasers, the tee shots that I was hitting with this back end of last year and right at the start of this year. But at the moment, I just can't get to grips with it. Perhaps because it's got a counterbalance shaft and the head is light and it's closed, the face, and it's a draw model. But I'm turning it over into snap hooks regularly at the moment. So it's in my bag because I know what it can do when I'm on it, but I'm really struggling with it at the moment. But we'll keep it in the bag for the close season and see what happens next year. Because I'm struggling with it at the moment, I've temporarily, possibly just temporarily, replaced it with an old favourite. This is the sort of garish Cleveland classic driver from 2012, the 290, not the 310, which is more of the pro version, or the 270, which is sits a bit closed. This is the sort of middle version, if you like. There's no frills to this. It's not adjustable. It hasn't got any weights attached to it. It's got a very deep face, deepest face Cleveland ever made on the driver, and its colourway is meant to make it look like an old persimmon driver, which it sort of does, I suppose, in a way. It's certainly unique. Again, it's got my favourite Miyazaki shaft on it, and well, I blogged about this before, but it seems to be doing me a bit better than my modern fancy draw driver, which I just can't. All I do is turn it over. This one, I aim a little left and play a baby fade, and it thumps the ball. It sounds like feels like as well you're hitting a tennis ball with a baseball bat. Just thump. It makes a lovely sound. So that's in my bag at the moment, at the cost of, and it replaces, maybe temporarily, my new fancy Cleveland HB Turbo modern draw driver, which I thought would never come out of my bag, but it has within a year. So those are the clubs. The bag is a Silencio. There's a Big Mac Silencio. You can see there, if I take the woods out again, you can see there that each iron fits into its own little slot, so that when you're moving around, it doesn't nothing rattles. I love that. Also keeps my blades nice and ding free as well. So that's the setup. I don't tend to carry this bag around. I either put this on a 4-wheel Sun Mountain push along trolley, which is great as well, or I carry a few clubs in a pencil bag. And then we'll just finally talk about balls. If I'm feeling confident, I don't mind the extra spin off the driver, I'll use a white FG Tour Wilson golf ball, which is a little bit firm, a little bit higher compression than my normal balls, but I need to be playing quite well to get away with this, because it does spin a little bit off the driver. It's alright, it's good stuff, good ball. And then if I'm not playing so well, I use my standard ball really, which is a very low compression yellow Wilson Staff Duo ball, which feels very, very soft, like the Callaway Super Soft, but cheaper, to be honest with you. Doesn't quite go as far as potentially the FG Tour, but it doesn't tend to go as far offline either. So that's my standard ball, if you like. And then if I can't make my mind up, I've got Duo Optics balls, Wilson Duo Optics balls, which are this sort of colour, which are very low compression as well. And then my old favourite in a different colourway this year, I've got matte red. It probably looks orange in this light, but it's pretty red. A Callaway Super Soft, and these are good, but they're quite difficult to see. And I'm not colourblind, far from it, but yeah, they're quite difficult to see. Probably best just to play on pitch and putt courses and short holes and things like that. But they feel lovely. They look like little tomatoes, and they feel like little tomatoes when you hit them with a bladed club. So there we go. That is my rather beautiful, these days, back to beautiful anyway, with these lovely blades, lovely old copper and bronze wedges and my beautiful brilliant copper Napa blade putter. And to be honest with you, you might not agree, but there's some, maybe it's an acquired taste, but there's something about my old one wood as well that's quite beautiful. That is, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my What's in the Bag 2021. Thanks.